Hey, good evening, everybody. It's me, Lynn Renee McDonald, live for Practical Spirituality or Practical Spirituality Live. Okay, it's late on a Friday night. And tonight, what I wanted to talk to you about, I wasn't going to do YouTube, but I'm working hard to do a new one every day, or try to work up to the goal. In the meantime, okay. And so tonight, what I want to talk to you about, what I'm being guided to talk to you about, is boundaries when you meet people for the first time, and or when you go out in public and you don't really know somebody, whether it's you go to an event at a school, a you know, a play, a game, a shopping, wherever you are out in public, okay? All of these places are places where you can meet people. Of course, then you may go out and do like a be in business with the public as well, or you may do an office job, which is still dealing sometimes with the public, but is more reserved, and then you have everyday people that you work with, right? But tonight in this video, I wanted to talk to you about when you meet people and the boundaries that you have first time when you meet people, because this is really, really important, all right? Because this includes not only first time boundaries when you meet people, meaning what's the best way to approach things, all right? Because I'm going to give you some examples. Not just that, but also things not to talk about. You know what I mean? Because the boundaries, you know in your heart what the right thing to do is. So when I say that, because the boundaries, let me explain that better. All right. So thank you, God, for the best words to explain this now, please, in the best way, from the highest form of love, in the best way for me and all, or something better. Okay. Like when I say you just know, okay? Anything that's super sensitive, or has the potential to be with people, right? Or you think is strange, or you don't resonate with, or you feel weird about, right? Or doesn't feel comfortable to you. All right, when you meet people right off the bat, you don't talk to them about that. Why? Because that's personal invasion. That is not honoring their boundaries. It's one thing if I've met you a bunch of times and we're friends and I say, hey, do you mind if I ask you why you do this? Right? Then we've already established a relationship. But then you want to present it in that way. Hey, would it be okay? You ask from love, because that's honoring them. Okay. So you ask from love, you say, hey, is it okay if I do this? Right? But also you have already established a relationship that is more of a friendship and is more personal. Okay. When you're out in public and you meet people, you don't just say, hey, are you pregnant? Or hey, is that your boyfriend, right? Because this puts people on the spot, right? Okay, and it makes them feel uncomfortable because it's a personal thing. So boundaries in this particular case, what we're talking about is meeting new people and the kinds of boundaries and the things you should do and not do when you meet new people. There are things you can talk about and things that isn't the healthiest and best from the highest form of love to talk about. Now, it's one thing if you have like an emergency situation where you're like, hey, like where you have to do CPR on somebody, then you're just going to have to, put what I call like the niceties or the boundaries aside, because there's a higher calling here going on in this experience, right? If there's a medical emergency or somebody needs help into that caliber, but that, right, by how it feels. So how it feels tells you about your boundaries, right? And the situation and what is going on, right? So if you see somebody has is having a heart attack, you may push people aside. You may say things that are abrasive because you have to save somebody's life, or you're assisting in helping that, right? Most people would react in a way from love to help others, right? Or saving, a child from drowning in a river in a car situation. You know what I mean? Like if a car went into a river, there are certain things that you just like boundaries with situations like in emergencies with stuff like that. All right. Emergency situation is different. Okay. That has its own particular set of boundaries. In that instant where you don't meet somebody, you pull over on the side of the road and let's say, God forbid, you know, let's say their pet gets hit by a car or something unwell happens or a kid falls off his bike. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you may find in your heart, and you talk to spirit about when you should always, but you also know in your heart what the right thing to do is from love. And so you're going to go and help them, right? And so the boundaries are not going to be the same as everyday practical earth world stuff where you go out and meet people or you go out and see people and you're not really your friends. You're not really, not so to speak friends, but close personal friends with them, okay? Because close personal friends, all right, allows different boundaries than people you just meet. Okay. Now we just talked about emergency situations. In emergency situations, there's a whole different set of boundaries. All right. Because this comes from a place of saving lives and being healers and caregivers and doing the right thing from love, right? That's all more so in alignment with that here in Earth World, right? So that has different boundaries than if I meet you in the supermarket and I'm just talking to you, okay? All right, so that said, all right, when we go to places and we do things, we say hi to people. Hi, how are you? Are you having a good day? There's like a casual conversation, which really behooves all of us to be authentic in that casual conversation space. In other words, you don't ask somebody, you know, hey, how's your day going? You having a good day? And you don't ask somebody these kind of questions. How are you? Nice to see you. Or say these things if you're not sincere about it. Okay, if you're not authentic in your feelings about it, and if you don't give a shit, you don't ask people those things. Okay, again, this is about boundaries, personal boundaries. Hey, if I'm not feeling great and I'm not feeling like authentic in saying hey to somebody, then does it, or you know, hey, you know, in terms of, or having an opening, a discussion, not just, hey, because sometimes I'll be walking down the street and I won't really want to talk to somebody, and that's okay, right? But I'll wave to them, right? I'll say, hey, or I'll say, hey, like that, right? But I'm not getting involved and I'm being sincere. I'm acknowledging their presence from a space of love, right? Okay, so it's a whole different story if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody and I say, hey, and I'm not interested in talking to them, and then I'm like, you know, I say something like, you know, are you having a good day? But when I say that, you know, are you having a good day? I don't really mean it and I'm not sincere about it and I don't really give a fuck, because that energy is going to come out when you say that to the person and they're going to know ultimately, right? So, you know, so remember this when you're talking to people and you're saying people saying hi to people or acknowledging people, to be sincere and be authentic, because this comes out in every space that is you in all areas of your life. The more authentic you are, the more authentic the life, the more greater the happiness authentically. Okay, so in all in all ways, in every area of your life. So you truly want to be authentic, and these again, this is all have to do how you see here now how everything ties into boundaries, right? And you can say, well, this is human behavior. Absolutely, it's human behavior. But people who are out here in Earth World and in human behavior, in their human behavior space of being human in Earth World, right? They don't know, because nobody teaches them, because that's one of the things we're here to teach, is coming from the highest form of love, okay, that exists here in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And the truth is, you know, there's a whole code of ethics from love for every situation, every way of being, and in all that is. How you talk to people, what you say to people, your mannerisms, everything about you, okay, is in that code of ethics with love. And you always want to be in the highest form. So if you're not authentically in a talk to people space, be straight up. Hey, you know, you can say to people, hi, you know, hey, how are you? You know, I'm not much into talking today. I'm not feeling 100%, or I'm not feeling 100% into it, you know, and then you may say, so I'm going to leave, and you politely excuse yourself, you know. I mean, there's things to say from love. And if you don't know how to say it, stuff like this, ask love to speak through you, right? Ask love to handle this, okay? That's across the board for all of this. Same thing with the emergency situation. What do I do here, God? Do I get involved in this crazy situation where this guy's having a heart attack and needs CPR? Right? Do I get involved with that? What should I do here? From love. Now, when I say get involved in that, what I'm talking about, am I going to be guided to do whatever it is that I'm going to do to help and assist? All right. And that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't get involved. What I'm talking about is sometimes you'll call 911. Sometimes you'll call out for somebody to help over here, where if somebody's, passed out or sick or something's physically unwell, and it's an emergency situation. Other times you'll get involved physically yourself, but you'll know what the right thing to do is always in these situations from love. Okay. By asking and working with this love, as well as getting it super validated by how you feel about it, the truth about what's going on, right? Okay, so we talked about a lot of different things here so far, crazy as it is, and it's only been 10 minutes, right? Okay, so all right. Next thing up, what I want to talk to you about with these subtle boundaries in everyday situations and in our lives when we have relationships or we meet somebody for the first time, and then we have more super personal relationships, and then really close, intimate personal relationships, like with people like with our lovers, our family members, right? Our pets, right? All the things that we love and see every day, and our friends as well. Those are different relationships than meeting somebody out here every day. And it doesn't mean you can't develop into this relationship space with that's like a friends and family relationship. You absolutely can, but there are different boundaries for every single relationship that you have, from the first time you meet somebody till the 1,000th time you meet somebody, right? And you always be guided from love in the highest form, and you will always do the right thing. You'll always know what the right thing to do is, and you'll always know the boundaries. How do you do that? Ask and you shall receive. Ask to hear the answer, ask to know it, ask love to speak through you, ask love to handle it if you don't know what to do, how to do, or understand it. That's how you do it, right? Okay, so people that I meet first time, okay, this is really a good, interesting thing for us to discuss in this YouTube. The people I may meet first time, I may say, hey, how are you? I may talk to them about their table if they're having a business, or about some merchandise in their store. The door is open to do that. If they're selling stuff, you go into a store, right? But I'm not going to ask somebody personal. I'm not going to ask the salesperson why they're overweight, why they're so fat, what's wrong with their skin, how come they can't breathe, right? Or, physical ailments I'm not going to pick up on and say to them, something about that, because that is not honoring and respecting and coming from love in the highest form. It is not my job to ask about these things, nor is it my job to give out advice in reference to these things or get involved in their personal life. Okay, not my job. That's crossing a boundary that no one invited me to cross. Okay, and there's a whole code of ethics from the highest form of love with every situation. And in first time relationships, there's just things that you just don't ask. Even if you have a nice conversation and you guys hit it off, you just don't ask somebody, hey, you see they have a big round belly, right? Are you pregnant? You know what I mean? And if you don't know if you should ask or not, or you really want to know, ask spirit, hey, let me know if they're pregnant. And before you know it, the person standing across the way that you're having a conversation will be like, hey, yeah, I'm going to have a baby in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Or in 3 months. Excuse me. But they will tell you. So why? Because we asked universe. We want to know. We honor them. We honor us, and we bring it right to source. Okay. But you will know by how it feels and how the energy with the people are. Ask spirit if you don't know if you should ask something or not. Just like people with severe acne, people who are in wheelchairs, people who can't work, or work or even walk, right? You're not going to go up to people that you know are not working, or a bum, or a bum meaning somebody who's homeless on the side of on the side of a, a street corner and say, why the fuck don't you have a job? Why the hell can't you walk? You're not, or give them advice about how they could do better, right? Because that's really not your job. It is their journey, their destiny, and their soul's mission to do what is best for them and to live and experience the life that they are living, right? It is not your job to give unsolicited advice about what is best for them, especially if you don't even know them. They didn't invite it. They didn't ask you to bring it in, okay? Because of these reasons, across the board, you're not honoring, you're not respecting them, and you are not coming from the highest form of love, okay? But if nobody teaches us these things, then we don't know, right? So this is all about this whole video. So to give you better guidance about how to talk to people, if you want to know something, ask Source, ask Love Energy. Hey, is she married to him, Source? You can say that internally in here without saying it out here. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, hey, what's your name? Hi, my name is Lynn. Lynn, I'm Susan. This is my husband, Paul. And that's how you're going to get the answer, right? Without invading their space, their stuff, their privacy, and you're still honoring them. Because here's what happens a lot of times. When you do stuff like that, you'll find out, oh no, this is her boyfriend and she's married to somebody else, right? Or this is just her brother, or she's not really pregnant, she's sick, but you think she thought she was going to have a baby, and it's kind of a lot of times we stick our feet or foot, what is the old stick your foot in your mouth kind of concept, right? With age comes wisdom. The foot in the mouth thing, right? So when that happens, okay, it's universe telling you, hey, this is why you don't do this. You know what I'm saying? This is why you don't interrupt, or not interrupt, but you don't ask things that are personal, okay? And there's all different degrees of personal. Yeah, if I'm selling lighters, feel free to ask me, hey, how long does my lighter last? Do you want, how much my lighter is? Do you have other colors? You know what I mean? Hey, are you having a good day today? Yeah, I'm having a great day today. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff pertaining to what is going on in the actual situation, okay? So, and the other thing you'll find is that many times you will offend people if you call them fat, or you comment on their skin, or you try to give them a cure, or you try to help them. If they're not asking for you, or for your advice, right? Then you don't give it. Then you don't give it. And you feel in your heart what the best thing to do is always, and you work with Love Energy, that is God or Source, for the best answers. Ask and you shall receive. And you don't even have to ask out here in front of people. You ask from within. So in any situation, if I want to know something, like if I see a person across the room and I see them out there and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, all right, let's say I see a hot guy and I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy is good looking. I wouldn't mind going on a date with him or something like that, right? And then I'll say, then instantly, right, that goes out to universe, what I just said. And I'll be like, I wonder if he's with somebody. And then all of a sudden, 5 seconds later, his girlfriend will come up and grab his arm, right? And then I will know, right? And if I'm not sure if it's his girlfriend or not, I'm going to ask. And they may come over to my table or wherever my business is or whatever I'm doing in my life. Maybe they'll be picking fruit in the supermarket. I'll be in the produce aisle. I'll be picking out some bananas, and they'll come up and they'll be in the banana section with me. And then, somehow, I'll run into them and they'll say something that will tell me whether they're husband and wife. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have all the power always by working with God and Love Energy. But at the same time, you have to always be in that Love Energy space that knows how to work with boundaries. And there's all different kinds of boundaries out in public and in all different situations. But if nobody tells us, then we don't know, right? If we don't know, and we don't know if we're not coming from the highest form of love, but we're all on that journey. So my job here is to share this stuff with you tonight so you get a better understanding, right? And also I want to bring in too, how many times have you ever talked to somebody and said, well, like somebody who had an amputated leg, hey, you wouldn't, most people know enough not to say, hey, what happened to your leg? When they have a better relationship, that person may come out and want to talk about it with you. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're open, when a better relationship, meaning when you've grown into a friendship space where those boundary doors that were closed when you first met are now open. Because when you first meet somebody, you're not going to say, hey, why are you in a wheelchair? What happened to you? I remember, years back, I was doing an art show way back when I was in my early 20s. And I have psoriasis, and I remember wearing a pair of shorts. And I remember this woman saying, seeing the psoriasis on my legs, and she said to me, "Oh my God," she goes, "What is that?" Right. So I'm working at my table, right? And she's gonna buy some stuff or looking at my stuff, right? And she decides that she brings it upon her in her mission to say to me, "Oh my God, what is that? What is on your legs?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh, this is psoriasis." I said, and she was like all offended and up in arms. So really, she was really sticking her foot in her mouth, right? And I'm in my 20s, and so that's what she said to me. And I remember, well, that didn't make me feel really good, right? And because she overstepped her boundaries, all because you can doesn't mean you should. Always come from the highest form of love. And when she said that, right, she was like all offended, and her reaction told me everything. She was feeling like my skin was gross, it was hideous, and then she sent that energy out to me. So be aware of how you feel about things and what you say to people, okay? Especially in first time meetings, acquaintances, out here in public eye, right? Because you will know, all right, what to do from love by how everything feels if you are more aware about what is truly going on. The God's honest truth. You don't know what the God's honest truth is. You ask. Now, this particular woman was in a really unhealthy space, but I can tell you firsthand that it didn't make me feel good how she sent out that energy. And then when she left, it was really great because she was like, "Oh my God," she goes, "I'm so glad I don't have that." And I was like, wow. And that shows me the space that she's in. Now, of course, I wasn't in the spiritual space that I'm in, nor the self-love space that I'm in with God or love energy. So I was really offended, and I was really upset. My feelings were really hurt. And then it played on all my, feeling ugly and feeling unwell and being unwell, right? And this is all part of my learning, right? Throughout my whole entire life, right? So that I could learn about love, how to treat people, how not to, how to do things. And it was all part of this journey to get me to this place, and my own personal journey, right, of self-love for me, right? Okay, so that was all part of that. But if I didn't have that experience of having somebody say some crazy stuff and direct their unwellnesses at me, by making some kind of comment in this whole environment and with this situation, right? If I didn't have that experience, well, then I really wouldn't know what it was like. Same thing with people with severe acne or scars on their face. Are you really going to go up to them and say, "What happened to your face? You have these scars," right? It's not a wise choice, right? Because it's not coming from love. You want to know, you ask source, and they may talk about it, nor are you going to give them a cure. If they don't ask for a fucking cure, like I remember when I would wear shorts all the time, and I was like, people would constantly come up to me and tell me the cures that I needed for my skin. And again, this is before I was on this spiritual path that I'm in. And even in the spiritual world, when I go out, if I wear shorts or whatever, people see my skin, they'll say stuff to me. I don't nearly take offense at it at all, especially not nowadays. And just like everything, we're all working on our stuff. We ask Spirit, thanks God for me be free of this. Thanks God for healing this in me. Thanks God for clearing how I feel about this. What is it that I'm feeling? Why do I feel this way? How can I change that? And change that now, please, from love in my soul and all I am, be, say, do, and create, and all that it is in the best way for me and all, or something better. Okay, so this video is really, right, and this also lets you know how to clear it out. When somebody does say these things, they break the boundaries, your personal boundaries, right? Unless you invite them and ask them. Same with my spirituality, right? I tend to teach people all the time everywhere I go. So I rope in that. I have to rope in that because my views are not everybody's views, and I must honor and respect everybody's views. But if they want to know my opinion, then I wait till they ask. Same thing. Like sometimes I'll be at spiritual events and spiritual things, and I'll hear a whole bunch of stuff about what other people say, and I listen, but I don't give my opinion, or should I say my sage advice from my connection to spirit. I don't give that out to people unless they what? Ask. Ask and you shall receive, because my job is to stay in my garden from love and honor boundaries, my own and others, from the highest form of love. So these tips and tools are great to teach you about boundaries and how to behave and what all this stuff means, in terms of when to use what, and how it works, and the meaning of what is happening when it happens too. It helps you get a better understanding on human behavior, being out in public, what to say, what not to say, what boundaries you should have at what times. Like when you're friends with somebody for a while, right? When you're friends with somebody for a while, then the doors open and you will feel those spaces, because they'll come out and talk to you and you'll talk to them, and it'll be a positive, healthy space. You'll be comfortable talking with each other from love. And then maybe then I'll say, oh, okay, so here's what's going on. You can, I'm cool if you want to give me some ideas about my skin. They may say, oh, I read an article yesterday in a magazine and they said to do this and that and the other with your skin. And I thought maybe you want to try this, Lynn. Do you see what I'm saying? So these are all tips and tools for you, for the future, okay? And for every day, all the time, now and always, from love in the highest form, okay? All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please definitely like it, all right, if you're feeling it, okay? And by all means, share it. And tomorrow I will be in the Karma Fest for the day. I'm doing a paid-for event and a free lecture on all the things you don't know about astrology, as well as on Sunday I will be in Pittsburgh at the Illuminate Festival. And many blessings. I hope to see you guys there, and if not, I'll see you on the next YouTube. Much love. Have a great night.